A very good morning to learners. In today's chapter, we will learn about metals and non-metals. We have to study the physical properties of metal, then chemical properties of metal, same way physical property of non-metal and chemical properties of non-metals. So these will be the topics or the subtopics we have to go through. Now in this slide, I have shown you the periodic table. In the periodic table, 118 elements have been listed. Out of these elements, some are known as metals, some are non-metals, and some are having the properties of metals as well as non-metals. So they are considered to be the metalloids. These purple colored, all the elements, they are the metals. Here on this side, the yellow boxes, they are showing the elements, they are basically the non-metals. And these green portion is of metalloids. Metalloids are the elements which have got property of both metals and non-metals. Some of their properties are just like metals and some of their properties are like non-metal. Hydrogen is also a non-metal. So the purple boxes on the periodic table, they are showing the metals. Then these yellow boxes, non-metals, and green boxes are the metalloids. Metalloids are the elements which possess some of the property of metals and some of the properties of non-metals. Now the physical properties of metals. Physical properties which we can judge by just having a look on the metals, like luster. Luster means shine. Metals, they possess shine. The shine on the metallic surface is known as metallic luster. Malleability. The malleability of metal is a property by virtue of which they can be beaten into thin sheets. That property of metal, like if we start beating them with a hammer, they can be beaten into thin sheets. Without breaking, they can be converted into the sheets. So this property is known as malleability. For example, silver metal is beaten to make silver foils. And same way, you have seen the aluminium foil also. Aluminium foil is used for wrapping the food items, and silver foil is used for decorating sweets. So how the silver metal and aluminium metal are capable of turning into foils? How we can turn them into foil? Because when we beat them, they can be converted into thin sheets, and this property of metals, when on beating we can convert them into thin sheet, is known as malleability. So we say metals are malleable. Malleable means they can be beaten into thin sheets. Now in this slide you can see how with the help of a hammer, gold can be beaten into thin sheet, metal hammered into thin sheet, and gold is the most malleable metal. Now next property, physical property of metal is ductility. The property of metal by virtue of which they can be drawn into wires. For example, copper and iron can be drawn into wires. So this property is known as ductility, and we may say that metals are ductile, means we can draw them into wires, we can convert them into wires. The way we can beat them into sheets and we say that they are malleable, same way if we can draw wires out of them, then that property is called ductility, or we say metals are ductile. Now very important property of metal is conductivity. Metals are good conductor of heat as well as electricity. Heat and electricity can pass through them. So they are the good conductors of heat as well as electricity. They have got thermal conductivity, means they can conduct heat. They have got the electrical conductivity. Okay, so they are good conductors of heat as well as electricity. Now in this slide you can see some of the metals and wires out of metals. So with this slide we can come to know that metals, they have got the property of ductility. They can be drawn into wires. Next property of metal is sonorous. Metals are sonorous. They produce ringing sound. Whenever they are struck hard, or they are hit hard, or they are dropped, then they produce some ringing sound, and that property is known as sonorous. So we say metals are sonorous. They produce ringing sound. Now next property, physical property, is about the state. All metals are solid. They are found in solid state except mercury. The only metal which is in liquid at room temperature is mercury, Hg. We can cut sodium and potassium metal with the help of a knife. They are very soft. Mercury, sodium, potassium are the exceptional metals. They are very soft. Otherwise, the metals are very hard, but we can say that sodium and potassium, although they are in solid state, but they are very soft. They can be cut with the knife. So what is the state of the metals? Metals are generally in the solid state except mercury. They are very hard, but some of them are soft like sodium and potassium, and mercury is in liquid state, so it is also not very hard because already it is in liquid state. Then examples of metal are, you have seen n number of metals in the periodic table. Periodic table is full of metals, but few examples have been cited here like iron, copper, gold, aluminium, silver and calcium. In this slide you can see that sodium can be cut into pieces with the help of a knife. It means the metals, although they are very hard, but few exceptions are always there like sodium and potassium. Being metal, they are not hard but they are very soft. So this is the exceptional case. So today we have discussed about the physical properties of metals with few exceptional cases. Revise well. Thank you very much.